Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker. And now, the host of the Worry-Free Retirement, John Ramsey.
Well, hello, I'm Tony Walker, the author and creator of the Worry-Free Retirement, obviously not John Ramsey. Our host, John Ramsey, has the week off, so I'll be flying solo, actually not quite solo. As you know, this is the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. And I'm excited about today's program. And with me to kind of fill in for John, he's been on before, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orender. How's it going, Aaron?
It's going pretty good, Tony. Filling in for John. That's big shoes to fill.
Oh, yeah. You can handle it, buddy. Weekend okay?
Yeah. Everybody in my house is fighting sore throats. I don't know if it's the changing of the weather, the changing of times.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've had interesting times. We're going through a move right now. We're over in Glasgow, Kentucky. Our youngest is finishing up high school, so that's all starting to fall into place. We think we might have our other house sold, but I tell you what, man,
right.
It's stressful. I'm trying to be worry-free, but I tell you start throwing monkey wrenches in, man, it gets kind of stressful. But hey, before we get started in the show, tell everybody a little bit about what you've been doing as the media coordinator for our office, and a little bit about Facebook and those types of things. And also the new program we've got where we're going to be giving books away outside the Kentucky viewing area. So share with the audience a little bit about what we got going on there, Aaron.
Okay, great, Tony. Well, what we've got going on is Tony's got a Facebook page now, Tony Walker Financial Facebook page. So if you log on to Facebook, look for Tony Walker Financial. There it is right there. I've got all kinds of pictures, videos, links to great articles about Tony. So there's a lot of good stuff going on there. What we want to do outside the Kentucky market now, the first 10 people to either like Tony's financial Facebook page or email him through Contact Tony at his website, the first 10 people to respond to that, we're going to give all 3 of Tony's books away absolutely free. There they are, the Worry-Free Retirement, Don't Follow the Herd, and the 3 Personalities of Money. Personally, Don't Follow the Herd so far is my favorite one. That's the one I'm reading right now. I love to read about Wally World and other people's money and everything. It's a great book.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so folks, again, that's a $49 value. The first 10, if you don't have access to Facebook, that's okay. The first 10, whether through Facebook or go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and just click on Contact Tony, and then, of course, we'll get you those books right away. And by the way, later on, we're going to be following up with somebody that's in our other markets. We have advisors around the country that can respond to your needs, and we'll be getting to her shortly. But first of all, I want to get back to business because I've been anxious to talk a little bit about what's going on in the financial markets with the government, with stuff just bouncing all over the place. We know the government has temporarily shut down parts of it. The Fed keeps interest rates down. What does that really mean? We've got the threat of not approving the debt ceiling. Again, whatever the heck that means to some of you folks out there, you're probably wondering, what do we make of all this? Now remember, with the Worry-Free Retirement, the uniqueness of my approach in doing this for almost 30 years is I try to use a 3-prong approach to money: man, money, and God. So I'm going to get into this God portion a little bit, but first I want to start off with an example to help us understand what's going on maybe in Washington even. But I had dear clients of mine. This is a true story. A couple who are basically in their 80s, let's keep scrolling here, happily married, by the way. Anyway, this man's wife, listen to the story, this will explain. This man's wife was saying that years ago while driving down the highway, her and her husband got caught in a torrential rainstorm. Now listen, because of the lack of visibility, I'm sure you've been there before, her husband quickly pulls off the side of the highway underneath a bridge overpass. I'm sure you've seen people do that. Maybe you've done it yourself. Anyway, you know how the road goes over the highway and you got this big bank that goes up under the road so you can take cover. Well, anyway, he gets out of the car. She's sitting in the passenger seat waiting for him to come around and open her door and help her climb up the steep embankment. You listening to this, Aaron? Okay, this is hilarious. Climb up the steep embankment so they can take shelter. Makes sense, okay? She said the door did not open. So she rolls down the window, and sitting up under the road is her husband. He's already climbed up the bank, taking shelter without her. There she is in the car, high heels and all. She's got to climb out of the car, go all the way up this bank by herself. And as she finishes telling me this story, which happened 20 years ago, she still sounded disgusted, by the way. I look at her husband, and he's sitting there, and he calmly says, this is true story. In situations like that, he says, it's every man for himself. So, Aaron and folks out there, as I see it, times are tough. And in this country, the politicians, maybe even the folks up there at Wall Street, even advisors, big corporations, here's my theory. I think it's every man for himself. So you might ask yourself, okay, well, how did this attitude, Tony, get started of every man for himself? When did it take shape? Now, this is where it might get a little controversial. This is just the opinion of Tony Walker here. But I think the financial storm, if you will, started when our country and the leaders decided they didn't need God's help anymore. Again, this is the God portion of the three personalities of money, the three prongs of money, and it started getting very chaotic when all of a sudden we all started looking to books, we all started looking to intellectuals, we all started trying to figure out what worries everybody. Again, my humble opinion, when you turn your back on the one who's in control, you're going to be left with what you got, and that's all alone. So that's what happens. Man will try to step in and solve problems that he or she is not capable of. And what happens is it becomes very deceptive. People begin to lie. They begin to cheat. They decide it's every man for himself. You know, Aaron, it's like magicians. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but they're masters at this. They trick us by having us take our eyes off the facts. They get us to look at something else they don't want us to look at without us knowing what they're doing with the other hand. This is the trick being played out now, and I think the result is people are worried. I see it every day in my practice. So, what can people do who might agree with my assessment, alleviate their worries? Ton of resources out there, ton of books. I've written books. I got videos. Everybody's got videos and books, right? Do we need more education? Well, it doesn't hurt anything, but if so, let's just talk about the truth. What can we do if these books and all these people on TV aren't helping us? Here's my belief. We got to have our spiritual eyes opened a little bit. No book does that better than the Bible. So whether you believe in the Bible or not, I'm going to challenge you to read it. In fact, if you read 1 Corinthians 2:9, it says that things which eye has not seen, go back to the magician here, and ear has not heard. Do you know all the story? That's what we're saying. And which have not entered the heart of man, all of these things prepared for those who love God. So in other words, you and I are going to have to love something. I've seen it all the time. We're either going to put our trust in something that maybe never satisfies us. A couple weeks ago, I talked about cooking marshmallows with my wife, Susan. And at some point, it's kind of like those marshmallows, Aaron. I don't know if you realize this. The fire went out, the glowing marshmallows, looking at her husband, Tony, in the face. Guess what happens? We go to bed. We wake up the next morning. She rolls over. There I am. My hair's sticking up everywhere. Believe it or not, Aaron, I got circles under my eyes. Not a pretty picture. So last week, folks, this is important stuff. I'm not trying to kid about this. We've got to laugh sometimes. Look, last week I talked about the story of fact, faith, and experience walking along this edge of this tall road, this tall wall. Fact was fine. Faith was fine. But experience came in and took faith's eyes off the facts, and they both went tumbling down. So here's how I see it. When we take our eyes off God and we put them on man, this is what we get. So all the things you're seeing are political posturing, photo ops, scare tactics, dead out of control. It puts us in a fear mode, and that's what they want us to be, is fearful. But in reality, I don't believe that. I think anybody that has a true fear of God, keeps their faith there on the facts, you're going to worry less about money. So the definition of faith, okay, thank you. The definition of faith, Aaron, and I think we both, I think, believe many of the same things in what I'm talking about. The assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So what I would tell people out there, I don't know if you'd agree with this, as we watch all of this, there's a lot of grandstanding, a lot of things we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. This is what this show's about, trying to give you the things you can control, the things you can do something about. In fact, when we come back out in the break, I'm going to give you some things, folks, that are going to really help you increase your level of confidence so you'll be more worry-free. Also stay tuned, because we're going to talk with one of our advisors from around the country that's filling in the gaps for us for those of you outside the state of Kentucky. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. How would you like to find a trusted advisor in your area who practices and preaches the same safe money solutions that I speak of on this program? Well, you can by simply logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and clicking on the Find an Advisor link. Once there, just fill out the confidential profile and submit it. This free service is available to savers who are serious about safeguarding their money. So what are you waiting for? Stop worrying and log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
And now it's time for Tony in the Trenches.
Hey, Tony. Joyce here. We were just trying to think if we had a little extra money where we might put it, and I'm thinking about annuity. I kind of understand a savings account, but what is the difference in a savings account and annuity? Can we get our hands on it if for some reason we should want a little hunk, or is it tied up so that we can't do that?
That's a great question. You know, in our practice, and in fact the advisors around the country we have are big proponents of what we call fixed annuities. Fixed annuities are great retirement planning tools. They can also replace CDs sometimes. They're wonderful tools for safeguarding your money, again, if they're fixed annuities. There is a drawback sometimes to fixed annuities. Depending on the type of annuity, this person's question is, do they replace savings accounts? Well, let's do this just to make sure we're on the same page. I want to define a savings account. In my book, a savings account is something at the bank. It is something very, very liquid you can get your hands on. It may not earn any interest, but in exchange for not earning interest, the beauty of a savings account is you can get your money out immediately. And savers love that. And in fact, I think all people should have a small amount of money, at least in savings accounts, because again, not only the FDIC insured, but they're there, you know when you can get them, and you can get 100% liquidity. Now let's kind of fast forward a little bit. The good thing about the newer annuities, there's so many different types. They're not like Granddad's old annuity, whereby you put the money in, it was locked in, you could never touch it, or maybe if you started drawing income, you had to continue to take it and you could never change courses. There are so many different products, even the fixed genre that we talked a lot about. There's even some newer products that'll let you take out 10% of your money penalty-free the first year. Sometimes you have to wait a year. There's even newer annuity products that'll let you, after 2 years, get all of your principal back, penalty-free if you have to. Again, that's why if you've got an annuity, if you're thinking about an annuity, maybe you've been to a workshop or a dinner seminar and somebody's talking about them, this is why you need to talk to somebody who specializes in fixed annuities and then has a game plan or a process to show you how to use them appropriately. Now, by the way, speaking of savings and that type of thing, we do occasionally on this TV program have questions coming in about savings bonds. Savings bonds, of course, are instruments issued by the federal government. There you go. You've probably seen one of these. Here's a Series EE bond. Sure, it looks very familiar to you. And these are issued by the government. What I thought we would do before we get to our advisor in South Carolina, by the way, we're going to talk to, what I thought I would do is just give you some information on bonds. And again, even if you're outside the Bowling Green, Kentucky viewing area where I'm located and where this show is rebroadcast, if you're in any of these other markets outside of our state of Kentucky, you could contact these advisors. I'm sure they could help you with this as well. So listen up if you or family members have any savings bonds. Let's go through this quick presentation just to help you out a little bit. Well, basically, what is the concern about savings bonds? Well, there's a bunch of money out there. It's $18 billion in savings bonds estimated to be owned by 10 million people, and $18 billion is earning 0%. So that's not good. The prime holders of these savings bonds are generally 65 to 85. And then the other group that should be thinking about this is the kids of these folks, the 48 to 64-year-olds. All right, next screen, please. Let's kind of keep diving into these savings bonds. What is the big deal? Well, the problem is, especially with that age group, a lot of these bonds are what we call stashed away. I've even heard of people throwing these things in the refrigerator freezers and vegetable drawers and who knows, lock boxes. So, and you don't get a statement. It's not like the government provides you an annual statement telling you about these bonds. Unfortunately, there's no rate posted on the bond. There's no value posted in terms of what they're worth past the face amount of the bond. No notice upon maturity. You don't get a call saying, hey, this bond's matured. No discussion about any unforeseen taxes that could be associated. They're taxed differently depending on the bonds. Let's keep moving here and look at these a little bit more. We go to the next screen. Here's 6 questions. You say, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to think about savings bonds. First of all, ask yourself, do you currently own U.S. savings bonds? I bet you do. A lot of savings bonds are given as gifts. Your parents probably have them, so more than likely, if you can fog a mirror, you might own a savings bond. Number 2, if so, are they still earning interest? Number 3, do you know how much they're worth? Number 4, do you know how to research them? 5, do you know how much in taxes you will owe on those bonds, especially if you liquidate them? And then number 6, more importantly, what we do you have a game plan around those bonds to help you? So here's what you can do. Again, if you're in the Southern Kentucky viewing area watching this show, you can call us directly or contact us at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. If you're outside that area, I'm going to show you how you can contact your advisor, but here's what you do. Provide us copies of the front of all the bonds, mail them to our offices or the offices that we'll direct you to. Or you can email or call us with the actual serial numbers of the bonds. We will research the bonds and provide you a free written assessment, and that will be provided to you with possible options so you can make more money on that money. All right, thank you. By the way, if we can, let's do this. Let's go on and go to the website. So for those of you who are thinking, oh gosh, I got to contact somebody about this, you go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. If you do not have a website, we prefer to let you not call the office, but if you don't have a website, that could be a possibility. There's the toll-free number on the screen, 877-499-9255. Now, if you're in the Southern Kentucky area, you just click on Contact Tony, fill out the information provided, and we'll let you know and get back in touch with you. You can see the information we require to contact. Now, go back to the home page there real quick, please. You click on Home. Now, if you're outside the Southern Kentucky area, go down to Find an Advisor in your area. You just scroll down to the bottom right section of the website, and you will click on Find an Advisor in your area. So if you've got savings bonds, if you've got current annuities, if you've got a 401k that you need help rolling over, if you just want a review of things that you've got right now and feel like you need to meet with somebody face-to-face that has very similar values that we have, that works with savers, that's trying to safeguard your money, please fill this out and send it in. By the way, if we haven't already gotten the first 10, you could go on and fill this in. If you're in the 10th, number 10 of any of these markets, you'll also get all 3 copies of my books absolutely free. We do need your mailing address and phone number, though, to make sure we get you this. All right, well, that was a mouthful. Speaking of advisors in other area, when we come back, we're going to be talking to one of our advisors we have located in the South Carolina area to find out a little bit more about her and how she might be able to help you become more worry-free about your money. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. For nearly 30 years, I've made it my life's work to help savers worry less about money. And now I invite you to personally contact me to discuss your situation to see if I can help you. It's very easy. You just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on the Meet with Tony link. Or if you like, you can attend one of my free financial workshops. As always, there's never any cost or obligation to meet and discuss your situation in private. So what are you waiting for? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
And now it's time for Tony in the Trenches.
Hey, Tony, I got a little situation. I'm in between jobs, or basically I'm on disability. I don't know, I need a little bit of money, and I don't know where to take it from. I got an IRA. I have some money in a savings account. I have a thrift plan. Where do I take it out? I'm not sure where to take it out. I need a little bit of money. Don't need a lot, but I need a little bit. So please help me.
That's a great question. That's kind of like, you're getting ready to exercise, you're starting a new regimen or program, and, dieting or whatever you're thinking about doing. I do this at the first year. I get all charged up at the first year goals, and I'm thinking, okay, now where do I start? Do I try to do 4,000 push-ups? And then, I mean, that is really hard. And this, in finance, it can be disastrous than that. Not only can you overexert yourself and pull something, and finances, you can take money out from the wrong places. So this is a great question. And unfortunately, a lot of people never solicit the help of someone that can help them with these different accounts. The problem with retirement planning is you'll have different accounts that have different taxability. We talked about savings bonds. There could be some different taxes on that. We could talk about Social Security. When do you take Social Security? By the way, we have a way to analyze that for you, some brand new software that not only we have, but these advisors have access to help you determine when to take Social Security. Here's a good one. You got a big old 401k plan. You're getting ready to retire. How much do you take out of there? Because let's face it, the government's going to want their money first. So all of these questions are legitimate questions, and that's why you need the help of a retirement specialist to help you figure out which assets do I draw from first, which ones are more efficient, how can I reduce fees, taxes, etc. Okay, you know, we promised you, we haven't done this. One of the things we're going to try to do on each show is we're going to go into our different markets outside the state of Kentucky, because we want to introduce you not only to who we got around the country, but if you're watching from this particular market, introduce you in terms of who's in that market. So with us on the line, we're Skyping with Ella. Ella, are you there on the line with us?
Yes, Tony, hi.
Hi, good to see you there. You having a good day?
Wonderful, thank you.
And Ella, you're in the South Carolina area. Just briefly tell us a little bit about exactly where you're located and the station that is covering you in South Carolina, and a little bit about your practice and your background.
Sure, thank you. Yes, I live in Greenville, South Carolina. That's upstate. But the television shows over in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which I also service. It's WMBF, and it broadcasts at Tuesday, 12 o'clock noon. So we hope you can listen to that. I've been in the practice for over 20 years. I started in 1989. I'm stopping right there. I'm not telling any more about my age. But I'm just passionate to share my comprehensive knowledge of retirement issues with savers out there who are retiring or nearing retirement, and helping them avoid common and irreversible financial mistakes. And I do this by securing lifetime income and safeguarding their money.
Well, great. And Ella, so you'll also be following up, of course, when people come in or call or go to their website and they want these free books. You will be forwarding the books to them, and then also be available to follow up and answer questions, because we're already having a lot of questions about those books. It's sharing a lot of new knowledge. So for the right types of people out there, you're willing to meet with people face to face as well, correct?
Yes, very much so. Looking forward to it.
Okay, well, thanks for being on the show with us, Ella. And again, thank you. For folks out there, again, in the South Carolina area watching from the show, there, if you contact the Find an Advisor link, let's go there now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You would click on the Find an Advisor in your area. If you happen to be watching from the South Carolina area, Ella would be the one that will follow up. Again, the first 10 folks will get the 3 books. That's a $49 value, absolutely free. If you want to just go through a review of your situation, maybe you're saying, I don't need the books, I need Ella. I mean, I need somebody to talk to. Again, click on that. There's no cost or obligation to visit with Ella, either by phone or if it warrants a personal meeting. We can certainly do that as well. All right, one thing I wanted to share here before we leave it on the website there too, because, you know, we talk a lot about annuities here. The fixed annuities are a big portion of what we do. It's not the only thing we do, but because fixed annuities are getting more and more popular, and because I've been doing this so long, we want to emphasize on this program. When you contact us, we are looking for people who are really wanting to safeguard their money. Ella mentioned that key term there. This really is about sleep insurance, folks. We're not trying to grow your money at all costs. So go back to the website. For those who want to find out more about annuities, you can click on the Annuities 101 highlight button up at the very top. All right, Annuities 101, a lot of great information there. When you click there, there's a free e-booklet you can download called The 10 Biggest Misconceptions of Annuity. It's over there to the left. It's got the little bird eggs. Just click on that. You can download the free e-booklet I wrote, and that will help you understand these fixed and variable annuities and the difference between all 4. So we hope you check that out. Again, that's available for free at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Well, Aaron, kind of closing out here, I thought what we could do, if you don't mind, kind of go back over the Facebook page again.
Okay.
We've only got a couple of seconds here, but go over the Facebook page and the like us and how we're going to do all that one more time, if you would.
Sure, absolutely, no problem. Again, so what we're going to do is we're going to have, we've got Tony Walker Financial's Facebook page. So if you want to go to that, click like Tony Walker Financial's Facebook page. If you click like on there, We're going to do the first 10 responders, the first 10 likes outside of the Kentucky market. We've already got, several people here in Kentucky that have liked Tony's page. So now we want to branch it out and do outside the Kentucky market. So the first 10 people to either like Tony's Facebook page or to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and contact Tony, we're going to be giving you away a $49 value, and that's all 3 of his books: The Worry-Free Retirement, Don't Follow the Herd, and his latest book, The 3 Personalities of Money.
That's very good, Aaron. And I'm sure if you all, as you're listening to us talk, you realize Tony doesn't know anything about Facebook. I don't even know the right terminology. So Aaron is our media coordinator. So actually, if you even have a question for Aaron about Facebook or things you'd like to see, you can even go to our website and just click on the website, and I'll get that to Aaron. If you have any comments about videos or anything we'd like to provide for you, certainly we're very open to that. Well, I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for some closing comments on the Worry-Free Retirement. How would you like to find a trusted advisor in your area who practices and preaches the same safe money solutions that I speak of on this program? Well, you can by simply logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and clicking on the Find an Advisor link. Once there, just fill out the confidential profile and submit it. This free service is available to savers who are serious about safeguarding their money. So what are you waiting for? Stop worrying and log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm the author and creator, Tony Walker. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, you need to be checking out next week, because we're going to talk about annuities, and we're going to talk about income riders and how insurance companies, how in the world they can guarantee 7% on your money. It's going to be a very, very important episode, so I hope you stay tuned. So for the Worry-Free Retirement, I'm Tony Walker saying I hope you have a wonderful day.
You've been watching The Worry-Free Retirement with financial advisor Tony Walker. To ask Tony a question or to find an advisor in your area, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.